so excited about 2014.
Hi, Sybil. Happy
Hello,
Monday.
guys. I'm still in the car because I was so rushing this morning because I have lots of good news, lots of bad news for this country going crazy mad, but it's good for our business. So yeah, let's guys introduce myself. I am Sybil. I am originally I'm from Lithuania. I'm born in Lithuania, and 16 years I'm in the UK. I used to work lots of wedding artists, lots of works artist way. So I used to have my photography business, and about 10 years. And you know what happened this period? 1 year I have not even to do any jobs. So yeah, I was thinking what to do. My partner, he opened a restaurant, and you know, this time is not easy. It's very hard, really hard. I can see how he's suffering. I can see how he's stressing, depressing, and you know, it's not easy. So always I was thinking what to do extra, maybe online, something online. You know, we need to have plan B. So yeah, and I have message from my amazing friend, Ruta. She texted me and she said, Billa, how are you? How's life? How's business? And yeah, she showed me this way. She showed me amazing opportunity. And yeah, I'm here, guys. 3 months. I'm already loading P1000. I have already income, and I'm helping as well to my partner in the restaurant. And even my partner, he was so sarcastic beginning. He was like, you know, you don't know where you're going. Maybe it's, you know, it's bad stuff. Is this, is that online? You don't know this, that. But I'm here and I'm so happy. I never listen no one. And yeah, amazing. And I'm so happy we have, I'm just gonna check how many people we have on the call.
Let's see, Sybil. I think Sybil just got muted out. Asked to unmute. There you go.
Can you hear me, Ross?
Yes, I can hear you. Sorry, it just.
Well, you cannot.
I think it got muted out for some reason.
So yeah.
Can you hear me? Yeah.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Okay. Yes. Yeah, we can hear you. We can hear you.
So yeah, guys, welcome on the amazing call, amazing mindset call. I want to introduce Ross Garcia. He's my business partner. He's amazing. He's amazing person. He have a crazy experience with the Bob Proctor. He's Bob Proctor consultant, and he's have amazing experience, information for us to change our mind, to change our lives, to change. If we control our mind, we can change our life. So yeah, Ross, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. And I want to give it up to Sybil. Let's drop some fire emojis to Sybil for her promotion and being dedicated to working her business with the company and for herself. So let's drop some fire emojis, some 777s on the chat. For Sybil, you are a rock star. Keep going, keep going, and do not let anything stop you, because you are very strong. And I got that right away from you, just talking to you. And you were like, you know, Ross, I'm such a positive person. And I was like, wow, you know, you know, I just sometimes we don't realize that we can learn so much from other people. And yeah, I am a Bob Proctor consultant, and you know, I've studied with Bob Proctor, but I just love the fact that every day I get to work with people like Sybil that inspire me. the way that her work ethic is, like, bar none, like seriously, hands down. Multitasking. She's on the call with Vincent, and we're actually not only just on Zoom, we're actually live on Facebook as well. So, you know, that's the thing, guys, that you want to create a residual income in a down economy, and this is possible. It is possible, but you have to know that your 5 friends, like, people like Sybil, the people that she talks to, the people that she's networking with are successful people. Her time, she's not going to sit there and talk to people and waste time, negative people that are just going to analyze and try to say something negative about what her goals and dreams are. And you're going to get that, you know, you're going to get like 97% of the time, you're going to get people that do not have no idea what you're going through, have no idea what you've been through and where you want to go. And they're too busy, you know, telling you what they see in themselves. A lot of the times people, what they do is they're showing you a mirror. They're mimicking exactly who they are and what their belief systems are. And then what happens is you start to believe this stuff. We see that in TV. We see that in commercials, not only just on TV, but on Facebook as well. So I want to let everyone know, even the people that are watching live on Facebook, that, you know, Wealth Mindset Group is a group to help people get to the next level in your personal life, in your business life. And, you know, as far as money and stuff like that, Bob Proctor always talks about it. He always says HHW, happy, healthy, wealthy. So for people listening in on Facebook, I would encourage you to join our Zoom calls that we do Monday through Friday. We do them 12 p.m. UK time. So if, depending what part of the US or what part of the world you're in, just go on Google and do the time conversion. So join us on Zoom, and I'll see you guys on Zoom. So now, as far as a residual income in a down economy, so I'm just sharing that on Facebook. Now, Vincent just says that the Zoom is locked, that the meeting's locked. So I just unlocked it, and I'm getting familiar, guys, with this whole Facebook stuff. Like, I mean, with this whole Zoom stuff. I didn't really know how to use it, but you have to know how to use Facebook, Zoom and Facebook. So now more people are tuning in. One of the things that I notice is when people come in, they are automatically unmuted. So if you guys just joined the call, please mute yourself, because we don't want to hear background noise as I talk about the stuff. So today's topic is on the will. I mean, not on the will. Today's topic is on memory. So we have higher faculties. We have perception, memory, intuition, reasoning, imagination, and the will. So these are our higher faculties. Now, so many people are just joining. It's crazy. But one of our higher faculties is memory, and that's what we're going to cover today. Is our ability to memorize the past and how we see things, right? So the past is inside of your mind, right? So you're thinking, and you think in pictures. So as you're driving your car, as you're doing stuff, you get these thoughts, and they're either about the future or they're either about the past. So yes, we're living life in the current situation, but we're thinking about the past, about things that happened to us. Now, they could be good things, they could be bad things. But your memory, what Bob Proctor says, is that your memory is perfect. So you can remember all the way back as to when you were a child. So you can go as back as when you were a child. And the crazy part about the information what we teach, the reason I say it's crazy is because it's totally on the illogical side. Like logic tells you, you know, I see this stuff in front of me, my bank account. I see that I have to constantly let people in. So I see what's in front of me, right? I can see, smell, taste, hear, and touch. And that is what causes like a vibration of how our life is. Now, the memory is like a collection, like you are like a computer, right? And you're storing all this information. And what is it that you're storing, right? Because the subconscious mind is where the program is. And I'm going to go into the subconscious mind right now and correlate it, connect it with your memory. So your memory is like, you know, I'll give you guys examples of like my memory. I remember when I was in probably like 5 or 6, and I remember I was outside playing with the rest of the kids, and there was a beehive, and all the kids were like, don't open the beehive. They were like some bees, they were making honey, but they were inside like a cage. So someone let the bees out, and I seen all these bees. The crazy part about it is I actually got stung on both sides of my ears by the bees. And I was like, whoa, oh my God, like my ears, like people were calling me Dumbo. Like my ears got like really big. And people were like, man, this guy might need to go to a hospital. I was a little kid, like 5, 6 years old. So I remember that memory. I remember that memory of what had happened to me. And I also remember people, this is like later on in the future. I remember people calling me Broxindo. Now, in Spanish, my name is Rosindo, right? So everyone calls me Ross. People started calling me Ross when I was working for Harris Bank, which was the first bank of Montreal, the Bank of Montreal, the first Canadian bank, BMO. So I used to work for BMO. So people were like, Rosindo, Rosindo. My manager just was like, let's just call you Ross, right? So people have been calling me Ross since like 2007. So it's short for Rosindo, but people in 2010 were calling me Broxindo. And the reason that they were calling me Broxindo was I made a lot of money, but I was always broke. Now, this is something that I'm directly like connected to Bob Proctor as far as how we grew up and how we tried everything to try to find out what success was. And that is a memory, right? So the memory is like, okay, what do you see? And you don't get what you want, you get what you fear. And rarely, if you don't control your mind, you're going to get what you fear and you're going to get what you see. So if, like Bob Proctor says, so you saw nothing but poverty, you witnessed nothing but poverty, then that's what you're going to attract. That's what's going to be delivered right on schedule is poverty. So I remember that past scenario of my friends laughing. Ha ha ha, Broxindo, you know, you're broke, man, you're broke. And at that time, I was working for an electronic company called Circuit City in the United States, equivalent to like a Best Buy or like a PC World out here in the UK. So I was making about $65,000 a year, and I was broke. And I was like, man, like I gotta try something. I have to change something. So, you know, I tried everything, and they say that there's only 2 ways to change a paradigm is constant space repetition, like repeating the same thing over, doing the same thing over and over again. And another way is by a hardship, kind of like a death of a family member. It's called an emotional impact. Like the Twin Towers was an emotional impact for a lot of people because a lot of people lost their lives. And I actually went to New York to the where the Twin Towers were. It's called I think it's called the One World Trade Center. Like it's like a building, the one building. It's like a real high building. But outside of that building, there's the places where the Twin Towers got knocked down. And you could see they made like a dedication to all the people. So that is an emotional impact. And that's the only way you're going to change your life. A lot of people wait till an event like that occurs to make a decision of what is it that they really want. So you have to understand that you're dealing with 7 basic universal principles. And the first one is the transmutation of energy. Now, science and theology, they disagree on a lot of things, but they come to an unanimous decision on one thing, that nothing's created, nothing's destroyed. So everything you want is already here. But the reason that you can't manifest the things that you want is because you have a memory of past events that happened to you. So you can't really snap out of it, as they say. It's kind of like fearing something, right? If I were to say Rottweiler or Doberman, these are, or a pit bull. These are dogs that bark, and if you're scared, they're going to come bite you, right? So the moment that I say that word, it triggers something in your mind of fear. So coronavirus, trigger. Rottweiler, pit bull, trigger. A T-Rex, which T-Rexes died a long time ago, trigger. It, like the clown from the movie It, oh my God, trigger. So these are things that trigger you, and they basically create, in your nervous system, they create an emotion. And that emotion is connected to your body. Now, the mind is not connected to the brain. The brain is something physical. The mind is an activity, and it's thinking at a high speed of vibration. It's moving. Now, what I want to get you guys to understand is that because of your memory is either going to serve you or it's going to hurt you. It can't be both. It has to help you, or it has to harm you. So what you may want to do is, and I really want you guys to take notes about this information, about what I'm going to share with you guys, because we all have a past, right? But if I told you that your success is dependent on your past, then you would say, well, how is my past going to dictate my future, right? And when you realize that the past is a collection, a storehouse of events that are basically in your memory, you can start to change the way that you saw those past events. And as, for instance, in my case, I was Broxendo, right? But Broxendo became a millionaire at 33. I was 32, 33 years old. I'm 37 right now. How did Broxendo become millionaire Sindo, right? Like a millionaire. And the reason that I was able to attract money into my life was because Earl Nightingale says, if you guys don't know who Earl Nightingale is, he is like, in the 60s and the 70s, he was like the biggest radio host in the United States. And he did a recording called The Strangest Secret. It's about a 30-minute recording that Bob Proctor used to listen to, my mentor. Now, The Strangest Secret was actually Napoleon Hill's book, Think and Grow Rich, condensed to a 30-minute recording. Now, when Bob Proctor was always broke, just like me, he always had headaches, and he was in an airport. He met a man named Raymond Douglas Stanford, and Raymond had always had a big wad of money. So Raymond told Bob, look, you're always broke. Why don't you try my way? Obviously, your way doesn't work. And he's like, I was tired of getting the same results. So I decided to take Raymond Douglas Stanford's offer and to read this book called Think and Grow Rich, because that's the book that Raymond recommended to Bob Proctor. And he started reading the book, and he created a company cleaning business that operated all around the world, here in the UK, also in the US and in Canada, started making millions of dollars. And he just kept reading the book. And one day he actually fell on the floor and a voice told him, because he was just so tired of working, he says, if you can't clean all of them, then don't clean any of them. So he decided to start pursuing this field called personal growth and development. And he went to Chicago and he wrote down on a card in Glenview, Illinois, that he was going to create a company that operated all around the world. So he did that, right? Created a company, operated all around the world, but it took him like 30 years. So the question is like, what price are you willing to pay to get what you want? A lot of people think, oh, let me just write down my goal and let me put a date on it and it's going to manifest into physical reality. It doesn't work like that, guys. You actually have to put down what you're willing to give for what you want. Like, for instance, when I said in my notebook that I wanted to attract $1.75 million by January 1st, 2017, and I was going to open up a business and be on the radio and start talking to people, I was going to give up my time. That's what I was willing to give up my time to help people with saving their homes. Now, at that time, everyone was losing their homes. Now, that is going to repeat again. People are going to lose their homes. But how many people do you have to approach? How many no's do you have to get in order for you to get one yes, right? And how many years are you willing to work, take action, have an accountability partner to help you get to the next level? And that's why James Allen, if you guys don't know who James Allen is, he wrote a book called As a Man Thinketh. It's a little small book by James Allen. And he says environment is more important than heredity. Now, heredity is like what you've seen as a child. That's like your memory. So my memory is like the most I've ever seen my dad make was like, let's say $70,000 a year. Now, because you have that memory, it's dictating the way you think. So the past is very, very, very important to your success, okay? And your environment is very, very important to your success. That's why James Allen says your environment is more important than heredity. So your environment is like who you're hanging around with. What type of people are you hanging around with? Who are you listening to? Who are you taking notes from? Who are you taking advice from? You know, and Bob Proctor always says, like, I don't mean to like impress you. I mean to impress upon you. In other words, I've made millions of dollars. So why would I take advice from someone that's broke? And if you're broke right now, it's okay. It's okay. If you're broke, that's fine. Because like he says, your circumstances might be uncongenial, but they will not long remain so if you strive for an ideal and strive to reach it. So the past has nothing to do with your future. Your current situation has nothing to do with your future. You could literally change your income and you can literally change your annual salary and make it your monthly salary. Like I did for my student, my sister, when she says, don't start your own business. Don't quit the job. We used to work at a law firm together. Don't quit. You're not going to find another job. And I said, I'm going to create the job that I want. I am a creator. I'm going to write down the number of how much I want to make every single year, every single month. I want to write this stuff down. I want to take action. I'm willing to give something to get something. Like Napoleon Hill says, there's never something for nothing. And, you know, I like what Napoleon Hill says when he wakes up in the morning. He says, "Oh, divine providence, I ask not for more riches, but more wisdom with which to use the riches I was born with and the power to control my own mind to whatever ends I desire." So yes, you have a memory and you could literally change it by writing it down on a blank sheet of paper. All you need, and it's either too difficult or too easy, guys. And this is what I tell. This is what I told my sister. And this is what I would tell you guys, right? All you need is a pen and a piece of paper. And if you can't afford a piece of paper, then write it down on your palm. It's that easy, guys. Like, there's paper all over the place. Write it down on the wall, write it down in the mirror, but just write it down. I'm so happy and grateful now that money comes to me in increasing quantities through multiple sources on a continuous basis. It's that easy. And when people get this information, it's either too difficult or too easy. And for the people that think it's too easy, they have a memory, just like me. And you have to fight yourself. You have to, the battle isn't with your family, with your friends, with the no's. The battle is with what you think about yourself. What are you telling yourself all day long as you're walking at the park or as you're working, as you're multitasking? Because the subconscious mind is always thinking when you're not thinking. The subconscious mind is thinking 97% of the time. William James was a professor from Harvard, and he says that you can only hold your concentration for 30 seconds. Bob Proctor says people would rather die than think. Why would people rather die than think? Because thinking is a skill. Napoleon Hill says that your thought permeates all space and all time. It's the highest form of intelligence. That is some serious stuff. Serious stuff. You're sitting there thinking, building pictures with your marvelous mind of how broke you are or how wealthy you're going to be. It's not both, it's one. Which one is it? Is it the right side that you're always wealthy, or is it the left side, you're always broke? And that's what happened to me. So when I started realizing what the memory was of, it's a higher faculty, it's a God ability. If you have no memory, what can you go by? What can you go by? And that leads me to this, what I'm about to show you guys. I was waiting a little bit of time so we could get more people on the call, because I have to do a screen share and I have to show you guys what I'm talking about here, okay? So what am I talking about as far as the memory? Okay, so I'm gonna create a note and I wanna show you guys something. Because you have a memory, your memory is a recollection of the past, okay? So your past tells you the most you've ever made was $65,000 US dollars a year, okay? So that's the past. But this is the present. So the present's right in the middle, that's the past, and this is the future. You're either thinking this way or you're thinking this way, and you're thinking of the image, okay? So you have an image, and this is like really, really, really important. And this is when I would start taking notes. Because if you can build brain cells of recognition, and what are the brain cells of recognition? Sorry, my writing's not perfect because I'm on a smartphone. Brain cells of recognition is when you write a number, a big number, and you make it look small. Make it look small. Now, the past is your memory. So your memory has to go by something that has happened in the past. But since you are a spirit, you have a God-given ability to create. You're looking at your past and you're letting it dictate the way you think. So your memory is controlling you. It's controlling your thinking. And you're getting more of the same, more of the same. So you need your memory. You need your memory, but you want to change that. You want to write down how you felt about that memory. I remember going through a breakup, a bad relationship, toxic. You know, people don't like using bad, so they'll just say toxic. So I was going through a toxic relationship. One of my friends was a psychologist. We used to do the radio together. His name was Eric Cardwell. He actually runs a program called it's called The Show of Psychology with Eric Hardwell. It's on 102.3 Inspiration in Chicago. Oh, it's called Counselors In with Eric Hardwell. So he tells me, Ross, there's something that happened in your past that you can't shake it. It's like the Rottweiler. You say Rottweiler and it causes fear. It's like a triggering mechanism. Bob Proctor calls it an electronic switching station, kind of like when an airplane knows where to go, like your navigation. And when that circuitry comes in with a negative idea, with fear, it causes an emotion to occur in your body, and that's why you constantly are going through this vicious cycle of I'm trying, but I can't. So when psychologists found out about this, there was a psychologist named Thurman Fleets in 1934 in San Antonio, Texas. He says that people were trying to treat the body, but they weren't treating the cause, they were treating the effects. So in other words, what's the cause? The cause is your mind, your memory, the inner working of the mind. The mind is not the brain. The brain is something physical. So your mind is thinking about the memory. So write down all the negative stuff that happened to you. That's fine. Write it down. Look, this is a good one. Broke Sindo, you are always broke. You're a loser. You're never going to amount to nothing. You're never going to be successful. Whoever told you you would be successful? You are down and out. You're going nowhere fast. You're never going to become something. Bob Proctor? Okay, who cares? So you're still a loser. You're always going to be a loser. And then you write it down and you literally burn it. Why do you burn it? Because that is a negative idea. So if you have a negative idea, then fine, write it down. Write it down on a piece of paper. As long, it could be a 10-page essay of your negative thought, how much of a loser, how you couldn't make it in life. So you write it all down and then you burn it. You don't have to burn it right away, but you have to burn it. So you have to let go. That's what my friend Eric Hardwell told me. He's like, there's stuff that in the past that you haven't let go, relationship, things that you haven't let go, and you're never going to be happy until you let them go. So you have this memory. You have to let go and let God. You have to write down the opposite, the positive. How can you write down the positive if you're thinking about this negative stuff? Just write it down. Think of the image that you want. What did I say last conversation? Energy just is. Energy is up here. It's formless. You give it form. And you're giving it form with your thought. And your thought is the highest form of intelligence. And your thought is coming in to your conscience. And then it's going to your subconscious. It's causing an emotion that is either positive or negative. Okay. So I want to go back in here and make sure that that you guys can see me. So that stick person was drawn out in 1934 in San Antonio, Texas, by a doctor named Thurman Fleets. Okay, so he drew out the stick person to give an idea of people of what the mind looks like before, they didn't have a picture of the mind. So like I said, the energy is up here. It's formless. You have to give it form with your thoughts, right? And then it goes to the subconscious. It causes an emotion. So the memory is like a negative or a positive emotion. And you write down the opposite. Change the picture. Write down the opposite of how you want you to be. So you could put, I am so happy and grateful that I'm a P600, a chairman 10, I'm a chairman 100. How does that happen? It happens by law. That is the seventh law, the law of gender. Excuse me, I was getting a call. So the law of gender states that there's an incubation and gestation period to every seed. And we know what it is for a woman having a child, but we don't know what a physical seed is. A physical seed, in Bob Proctor's case, took him 30 years. When he was working with Earl Nightingale, he put that he was going to create a company that operates all around the world, and he did that. So, you know, when you look at a number like a million, you start changing the way you see the million. The past has nothing to do with the future. That's the past. This is the creation process. When you look at a big number and you internalize that number, regardless of what has happened in the past, because the past has nothing to do with where you want to be, right? So I'm going to get back in here and talk to you guys just a little bit more so you guys could see me, and I'm going to stop sharing the screen. So I was getting a call when I was talking about this stuff. So that's what happened to me, guys. Like, we have more people in the waiting room. I was thinking about the past so much, about people that hurt me, and it's okay. Like, people are just ignorant. People don't know this information. Psychologists don't even know this information. And in that time, in 1934, when they asked Dr. Thurman Fleets, they says, how can we fix this patient? How can we figure out what's wrong with him? We need to figure out what's wrong with this guy. And he's like, I'll tell you what's wrong. You're treating the cause, the outside. We need to treat the mind. We need to treat the effect, not the cause. So the effect is the inside. That's why Bob Proctor says, you want to change your income, you want to be happy, healthy, wealthy. In Greece, there's a mount, it's like a statue of Apollo, and on top of the statue it says, know thyself. What does know thyself mean? Know who you are. You're the only problem you will ever have, and you're the only solution. You're the only problem, you're the only solution. The biggest treasure is in your mind. Like, people were looking, Hernan Cortez went to Mexico and he was a Spaniard. He went out to South America and he was doing conquest. They were out there looking for gold. Like, these people literally walked all the way to California, the Spaniards. They're asking one of the Indians out there, hey, where's the gold? And he's like, it's that way. And they're like, you sure? This is it? He's like, yeah, this is it. They went to follow him all the way to California. People didn't even know what California was. They had to map it out. They discovered California. They discovered Las Vegas, Arizona, all these states in the United States. How were they discovered? Well, they discovered them because they were looking for gold. But if I were to tell you that there's more gold that hasn't been mined in the mind than in physical reality, you'd be taking notes. You'd be taking, like, okay, let's do this, right? 7 basic universal principles. The first one is the transmutation of energy. I think the third one is the law of vibration, and the law of attraction derives from the law of vibration. It comes from the law of vibration. And then the 7th one is the law of gender. But because you have the higher faculties, you can, you have the lower ones, you can see, smell, taste, hear, and touch. But then you have the higher ones: imagination, memory, will, reasoning, intuition, and perception. So you can see, smell, taste, hear, and touch, but a dog can see, smell, taste, hear, and touch. You're not a dog. You have DNA, God-given abilities. Your DNA is perfect. There's genetic code information in your DNA. And they're finding this stuff out through research, that you're intelligent. You're God's highest form of creation. Inside the core is just unadulterated energy and love. But because we've been hurt, because we have a past, and in the past, like, the subconscious mind was wide open. So you were taught what a cat was. You were taught what a Rottweiler was, and to be scared because the Rottweiler is going to bite you. Actually, my niece got bitten by a Rottweiler in the face. they had a Rottweiler in the house, and they were like, we need to get rid of this dog. My niece was like 5, 7 years old, and the Rottweiler was just mean dog. Can you imagine if they wouldn't have got rid of that Rottweiler, what that Rottweiler would have done to my niece? I mean, there's stories of animals like straight annihilating a baby. I mean, that is a horrible picture, but it causes a foreign vibration, a vibration that has never happened, right? And it's a foreign vibration, so it scares you. And that's what happens when you're working your business. You have to approach people. That is a foreign vibration. It's something that you're not comfortable. Comfortable is doing the same thing over and over again, making the same amount of money over and over again. But what's uncomfortable is something that you have no idea how it's going to happen. And asking how it's going to happen, asking how is this going to happen? Like, how is it going to happen is none of your business. That's why Bob Proctor says you don't have to worry about how. And if you'd say that, that's totally illogical. Like, fantasy is up here, theory is right here, and fact is right here. So this is fantasy, theory, fact. Now, the fact is, number one, you're broke. I'm not saying you're broke, but I'm just saying the fact is you're thinking like a broke person, right? Fact number two is logically, there's no way, right? There's no way that I could turn my, let's say, annual salary or annual income into my monthly. But fantasy is like thinking of something that you really, really want. Theory is like making a plan for it. The plan doesn't have to be precise. And this is what Bob Proctor says. It doesn't have to be precise. In my case, it was, I'm going to attract 1.75 million by January 1st, 2017. Now, how much is that? That's 1,750,000. Now, I remember telling my dad, I make 20,000 a week. My dad thought I was crazy. He's like, the most I've ever made is like $60,000 a year. I work construction. So what do I see? I see my dad making this much, right? .00. Like that's the most he's ever made. But what if I told you that you have the ability to create, and you could say, look, I'm gonna make 650,000 a year. And I know this sounds totally illogical to, let's say, have residual income, and you're doing work, but you're also working with the creation process to attract things into your life, because it's about HHW: happy, healthy, wealthy. And you have 24 hours a day. So what are you doing with the eight, and 8? What are you doing with this, and this? Obviously, we know that this is sleep, right? And this is work, and then this is like free time. So it's like there's people that do both 16 hours, and then they take out the 8 hours of sleep. So they're actually doing 20 hours, and they're only getting 4 hours of sleep. That's not good, guys. You want to create a balance, okay? And this is something that I did myself. I got a daily calendar. I actually had one in Chicago, but I left it in Chicago. But this is like every single day. Now, the one I had in Chicago was hour per hour, like 9 a.m., 10 a.m. It was, this one is just like the day, but you can get either the day or the hour one, and just keep track of what you're doing with your free time, what you're doing with the other 8 hours, which is 16 hours, And like I said, you're building brain cells of recognition. This is what I do. This is what I do. I don't look at a small number. I look at big numbers, guys. When my mentor Bob Proctor started working with Sandy Gallagher, he asked her, he's like, how much is the most that that you've made? And she was like in the multi-millions, but she's like, Bob, I deal with big numbers. I do bank mergers in Wall Street. I'm an attorney for banks. So I've seen billions of dollars in mergers. So what's $1 billion? $1 billion is like 1,000,000,000,000.00, right? That's 1 billion. You know, people are looking at like 20,000, and this is this is where their awareness is. You know, and it's neither good nor bad. You know, they say, oh well, I'm still young, I still have another 4 years. Look, age has nothing to do with this. That's just another paradigm that you're telling yourself. Limitations. Paradigms is what you talk about all day long. So a paradigm are limitations. So these are limits. So what are paradigms? They could be either serving you or hurting you. So a paradigm is like, I'm too old. I'm too old. Right? I'm too old. Like if I were to tell my dad to join the business, like, oh man, I'm too old. I'm already retired. But what is retired? Retired for you might be different than retired for me. Like Bob Proctor's not retired. He's 86 and he's walking around like he's 40. Why? Because all his friends are young. They're all in their 40s or 20s. So he talks to young people and deals with young people all day long. So, you know, your mind is a tool. It's either an asset or a liability. And for the people that are in jail, it was a liability because they did something stupid and they didn't think, and now they're locked up in prison. So you're the only problem you will ever have. You're the only solution. And what you have to do is you have to make a big number look small. You have to look at what the limitations are. How can I get to Chairman 10? You know, how can I get to P600? How can I get to P1000? These are all levels of awareness. And once somebody in your family breaks through and gets success, and you ask them, how did you do it? Better yet, you were with them when they were doing it, like my sister, when she saw the transition of me going from making, you know, $30,000 a year to making $30,000 a week, or some like crazy percentage, like on the money. Like if you were to take 30, the numbers like crazy. And you could do that for yourself. You could do that for yourself, you know, and it's just, you got to build brain cells of recognition to the fact that this is possible. You know, when that happens, you're going to start changing the way that when you change the inside, the change in the outside, it starts changing, but you can't really understand how. See, that is like the trick. That is like the trick. If you were to look at a book, it's called How to Raise Your Own Salary. And I'll put this in the group. I'll put this in the group so you guys could see it. In the book, How to Raise Your Own Salary, this is a conversation that Napoleon Hill had with Andrew Carnegie. Andrew Carnegie, which was the richest person in the 1900s. And Napoleon Hill was a broke newspaper reporter. He had a brother named Vivian that was a divorce attorney, and his brother was trying to encourage him to go into the law. And he's like, no, you never got married. I want to have a family. I don't want to be like you. Why did his brother not get married? Because all he seen was nothing but divorce. So guess what? He never got married. He was never able to trust a woman. It wasn't him, because that's all he witnessed was divorce. Like when you see police officers injure people that are innocent, why do they hate people? Why do the police officers injure innocent people and shoot innocent people? Because they're in a bad environment, guys. That's why when I took psychology in school, they said police officers marry police officers. Why? Because they want to be around crazy. They're not normal people, because they carry guns and they're dealing with violence all day long. And you think a police officer is going to be normal? Yesterday, I was watching that movie, American Sniper. Now, American Sniper is a movie about a guy that goes to Iraq and then he comes back home and then he goes back to Iraq. He's a sniper he was a US Navy SEAL and he was killing people in Iraq at war. Then he would come back home. His wife got pregnant. He had kids, had a family. But when he was with his family in the United States, he wasn't normal. His mind was still in Iraq because all he seen was nothing but war. He had to watch his back and make sure the enemy doesn't kill him. And that's how you are. Everything you're doing is what you see. So how do you change what you see? How do you change your memory? By writing down a new picture of how you want your life to be. That's why I say, I know someone's ready when they can take a pen and write down what they really, really want. And I talked about this last time. I had a friend, his son died at 20 years old, 7 days before his birthday. He was barely going to be 21. His son died in a head-on collision on the expressway. 20 years old, his son died. And I said to my friend, Danny, can you write down what is it that's bothering you? And he tells me, no, he gave me some story of why he couldn't write it down. No, it's okay. Because just, I have a lot of things going on. And you know what? I understand. When his son died, I was there at the wake. They buried him. I gave the family $1,000, something extra just to help out. And it's a horrible situation. And if you want to talk about being sad and being depressed and being lonely or going through a negative situation, and I will post this also in group, it's called Napoleon Hill's Challenge to Life. And he says, life, you can't subdue me. Fear, you can't subdue me. I laughed at fear. I laughed at death because I know that that's God's most beautifulest pleasures. It's like a dream. Death is like a dream. What joy do I find in a dream? Beautiful. So when you look at that fear of death, which is actually one of the fears that Napoleon Hill talks about, I believe there's 7 fears. There's the fear of loss of love, the fear of death, the fear of poverty. What fear do you have, right? We all have these fears. And I feel like mine was like the loss of love. But everyone has a fear. The fear of poverty. Oh my God, I'm gonna go broke. The fear of illness. What's a hypochondriac? Somebody that tells themselves they're sick. Oh, I'm sick. And then guess what? They eventually get sick. Bob Proctor talks about this. So when it comes to the mind, you have a memory and you can change the picture by writing down the negative picture, burning it, and then writing down the positive one. Write down how beautiful your life is, regardless of past events, regardless if you've never been a millionaire, never been successful, never created a company. You're doing this now. You're on the call for a reason now. This is not by coincidence. This is by law. Winner doesn't follow winner, guys. When the sun comes up and the sun goes down, the moon comes up. These are principles. The law of opposites. Up, down, in, out, man, female, broke, happy, right? Healthy, not healthy. These are just flip the switch. That's all you have to do. But you can't do that because you can't write down the negative situation. Write down what your current income is, what your current position in I Am Academy, where you're at, and then write down where you want to be on the opposite side of the page. And then literally burn one side and just keep the positive side. And then just keep building brain cells of recognition, because Napoleon Hill says that the only way that the subconscious mind is going to pick up what you want is by repetition, enthusiasm, being grateful for what you have, showing gratitude, leaving everyone with the impression of increase. How do you leave people? Do you leave them better off, or do you leave them feeling worse? And there's actually people out there that they get a kick out of leaving people worse than better. Better is a word that you should use in your vocabulary. More is a word that you should use in your vocabulary. Opulence of great wealth. If you Google opulence of great wealth, opulence is a word that you should use in your vocabulary. Multiple sources of income. feeling happy, you're creating something from nothing. That's how this stuff works. Nothing is like the dirt. Earl Nightingale says the dirt is immoral. You can plant nightshade, a deadly poison, and not even a 16th of an inch away, you can plant corn, a sweet food. It gives you what you plant. It's up to you. You're in control. When you realize that you have these higher faculties, you know, God-given abilities, like your memory, your imagination, your will, reasoning, perception, and reasoning, you can start painting beautiful pictures with your imagination, entertain them, being happy, grateful, looking at big numbers, making them look small. And when other people ask you, why do you have big numbers written down? Why did your bank account go up 20,000%? How did this happen? You could say, the how will present itself. The how will present itself. Bob Proctor loves saying that. He told Jack Canfield from Chicken Soup for the Soul, he wanted to write a book called Chicken Soup for the Soul. Okay. So he wrote out the book, Chicken Soup for the Soul, and he told Bob, I want to sell 50 million copies of Chicken Soup for the Soul. And Bob's like, there's no way you're going to sell 50 million copies of Chicken Soup for the Soul. Well, not only did he sell 50 million copies of Chicken Soup for the Soul, but he sold a company for millions of dollars. And if you don't know who Jack Canfield is, Google him. He's in the Guinness Book of World Records for most book ever sold. And that was Bob Proctor's student, Jack Canfield. True story. How did he do it? We don't know how. It's like asking the scientist, hey, how does the sun go around the earth, or does the earth go around the sun? I mean, Copernicus figured it out like in the 1600s. Everyone thought it was the opposite. We barely came to find this stuff out. You know, Thomas Edison figured out the radio frequency. How to figure out the radio frequency? He was trying to discover how to house a light bulb. That's why when you drop a bulb, it pops. He went through 10,000 failures, with documented failures, according to what these people are saying. 10,000 failures. He didn't quit. Every time he'd try to figure out the way. He finally figured out the way on how to house the energy, the light. He figured it out through the method of combustion. What's combustion? Oxygen. How do you do combustion? You house the oxygen in the bulb. That's why when you drop it, it pops, because there's oxygen in the bulb and the wire doesn't pop. And the same thing, he figured it out because that was a synthetic way of creation. There's two ways of creation, synthetic and imaginary. So it's like you see it, you create it from nothing. And then synthetic is something that already exists. So that is like two ways of creation. He figured out the way on how to house the energy through charcoal. That's why when you burn charcoal, like wood, when you burn wood, that's actually one of our businesses in Mexico, because we have a ranch. We have a lot of wood, a lot of dry wood. That's what dry wood is. So you grab all the dry wood, you bury it in the ground. This sounds crazy. You bury it and you burn it. When it gets to that certain degree, you throw water on it. Actually, you throw dirt on the wood. You throw dirt on the wood, okay? It creates carbon, charcoal, okay? And that's what you use to cook meat on the grill. And some of that wood or charcoal, it has like a flavor to it. So the meat is even more tasty, like, oh my God, like this is like honey barbecue, right? So that is how he created the light bulb, because he knew how they were creating charcoal. So he used that method. He housed oxygen. With charcoal, the oxygen has to be at a certain degree. When you throw the wood, when you throw the dirt or the water, however method you use, when you do that, it's at a certain degree of when it's burned. When it's burned at that certain point, you don't want to do too soon. You don't want to do too late. You want to do it right at the right time. And that's how he got the idea to create the light bulb. It was just one change in his imagination, in his way of doing. It was just that one thing, that made him do this. And it's for you. It's like, how do you create a quantum leap in your income? How do you snap out of it? when you're programmed. That's where the program is, in the subconscious mind. That's where the program is of who you are. That's why in Greece, in the Mount of Apollo, it says, know thyself. Who are you? You're not your name. The name is given to you at birth. You are a spirit. You have an intellect. You're in a physical body. You're here to experience something that hasn't went on in the past. You're to do something new. How can you do something new if you're broke? That's what Wallace Waddle says in The Science of Getting Rich. You were born rich. That's what Bob Proctor says in the book, You Were Born Rich. How can you experience something new if you're broke? How? How can you experience something new if you're letting the TV program, control the way you think? Corporations control the way you think for their agenda. Create the agenda in your mind. Start creating beautiful pictures. Fantasize about them. Create a plan. It doesn't have to be precise. Just before I end the call, I would encourage you guys to read that book. If you guys really want to study the information of who you are and know yourself, know where people started from the past. Napoleon Hill was a newspaper reporter. He was broke. His mom died. And if it wasn't for his stepmom to encourage him to write the book, You Think and Grow Rich, he would have never wrote the book, because he was discouraged by so many people telling him, you're never going to be a successful author. There's no way you're going to make millionaires. There's no way that you can study this information and help people. And Andrew Carnegie, before he died, he told Napoleon, the conversations are in the book, How to Raise Your Own Salary. How to Raise Your Own Salary by Napoleon Hill. These are the conversations that Napoleon Hill had with the richest person in the world. Who are you taking advice from? Broke people or the richest people? Andrew Carnegie told him, he's like, look at yourself in the mirror. Tell yourself, Napoleon, not only will you surpass what Andrew Carnegie has done in life, but you're going to meet him at the post and beat him at the Grand Slam. Meaning, not only are you going to accomplish what he did in his life, but you're going to do so much more. Andrew Carnegie is stated to have only mint 10 millionaires. Napoleon Hill has minted millions of millionaires with his book, Think and Grow Rich. Millions of millionaires. So that's what I'm saying. Take advice from the right people, read the right material. And Andrew Carnegie literally changed the way that Napoleon Hill saw his life, because up till then, he didn't know what the word philosophy was. He didn't know how it felt to be wealthy. He said the big fear he had was the fear of poverty, because when his mom died, he was hungry, and he would look at the river and he would want to catch a fish. And that time, we didn't have grocery stores like now. He was hungry. Have you ever been hungry? Have you ever just like wanted to be better, but you were scared? You would cry, you would be depressed because of the past. But the past has nothing to do with your success. That's the past. And he became successful, guys. He looked in the mirror. He said in the beginning, I thought Andrew Carnegie was crazy. I have the richest person in the world telling me to do what? To look in the mirror and to tell myself that not only will I surpass what he's done, but I'm going to succeed bigger, better than him. He's the richest person in the world. Genevieve Behrend, she wrote a book called Your Invisible Power. She says, when you can bring these unseen causes into harmony with your conception and make practical working realities of possibilities, you can make present dreams that you can make fantastic dreams that at present seem fantastic dreams. In other words, I'm looking at the comments as I'm saying it. You can make practical working realities that at present seem but fantastic dream. These are fantastic dreams. Can you imagine Napoleon Hill being in a car, like in a Model T in the 1900s, going to Andrew Carnegie's mansion, 21 bedrooms, freaking 15 bathrooms, big library the size of a park? Can you imagine what fantastic dreams mean to you? Like, what is a fantastic dream? Practical working realities that at present seem present Present is right now, but fantastic dreams. How can you do that when you've always been in a poverty conscience and you've always thought that the big number was big? I wrote down 10 million. The girl next to me is like, 10 million? Whoa, those are a lot of zeros. But what is a lot? A lot to Jeff Bezos. If I sat next to Jeff Bezos and I showed him my little dream board, right? My book, my zeros, Jeff Bezos is gonna be like laughing, right? What did his wife get in the settlement? Like 25% of his stock, which is like $50 billion. How much is 50 billion to you? Well, what if I told you that 50 billion is neither too big nor too small to the subconscious mind? Think about it, guys. Think about what I'm telling you guys. Because this could be either a blessing or a curse in your life. You could either believe it or not believe it. But I'll tell you one thing, for me, it was a blessing because I was always broke. They used to call me Broxindo. And I was so broke that I couldn't even pay for my apartment. My friend had to pay for the apartment and then he moved out. It was quite embarrassing. And then he went to work and then they announced it at Circuit City at the store where I worked. And I used to sell phones. And I heard, hey, Broxindo couldn't pay for his apartment. He got kicked out. How does that feel? But you know what? My friend is doing the same thing that he's been doing for the last 10 years. When my friend came to live with me, his grandfather had died. He actually got shot in the head at a store. And the person ended up getting caught by the FBI. True story. So my friend came crying to my house and he said, I have nowhere to live. I don't want to live with my father. He's like, I told my dad to take your advice and to sell the house. But my dad didn't want to sell the house. Now my grandfather's dead because he lived like in a rough neighborhood. And I'm like, who killed your grandfather? He's like, some guy just went in the store with a gun and shot the lady behind the counter and shot my grandfather. My grandfather had the habit to go buy a 7-Up and watch the Cubs game. So that was the last Cub game that my grandfather would ever watch. He ended up dying. I went to the hospital. I seen his dad lying there, his grandfather lying there in a coma. 2 days later, they pulled the plug. He was dead. He was like 75 years old. And some guy, the lady had 3 kids. She ended up dying. He just for like $20. He just went inside the store, killed 3 people, 2 or 3 innocent people. I let him in my apartment, but I didn't feel bad. I didn't let what he was saying get to me because I was searching for this information. And it took me years. It took me years. I ended up in boot camp, a military program. And I would see people happy. I would wonder how people would buy beautiful homes and how this life could really is. And everything you're searching for is searching for you. You might not realize it, but everything you've been asking for, you will receive it. And if you're asking for a better life, you will get a better life, guaranteed. Because everything that you want wants you. The moment you realize that, everything will change. I just went through a really tough situation, really, really tough. But that made me want it even more, guys. When I got on this side, when I got on the creation side, when I realized that I was a creator and I could literally create the life that I really wanted, nobody could trick me. Nobody could fool me to thinking that I could be broke, because that was just someone else's thinking, someone else's idea. So you are a television station. You are receiving information, but you're also giving out information. So when you listen to broke people, you just give out that poverty. When you listen to successful people, you give it out. But it's like, what price are you willing to give? And you're still in time to change. You're still in time to take action, to do something for yourself. Because if you do it for 2, 3, 4, 5 years, you'll look back, you'll need a telescope to see how much your happiness, your life changed, your income, your business. You'll look back and be like, what a change, you know? And it happened to me. Been through all that stuff. And you can't blame other people. It's okay, because everyone has a perception. Everyone has a feeling of what they think of you. But the beautiful part is, it doesn't matter what other people think of you. What matters is what you're gonna do. So I hope this call was impactful for your life. And like I said, we're going into a new economy, into a whole new way of life. I was telling my son, you think when you're older, cars are going to be on the ground? I don't think so. You're going to be in the sky. You're not going to be in the ground anymore. So these next 30 years are going to be like pivotal, life-changing. And you have to appreciate all these things and go for the goals, go for the big money. Like Napoleon Hill says, go for the big money. Because when you find out where the big money is, you'll be making more money when you sleep than when you're awake. That's how this stuff works. So I want to give it back to Sybil for putting these calls together. I'll see you guys tomorrow, and we're going to be talking about your perception. Thank you guys for your time.
Hello, thank you, Ross. Thank you, amazing information. Wow, crazy. So yeah, guys, let's jump every day, Monday, Friday to Wednesday, Thursday, 12 o'clock on this amazing call, because we need to feed our brain every single day. 1 hour is not enough. Like people said, yes, I know all this information, but it's not enough to know. I used to be the same. I used to have, before I jumped to this business, lots of books, lots of this. I know, but I never practice every day like Ross explained to us. So need to every day listen 1 hour. After 1 year, 100% you're gonna have results, amazing results. I'm already slowly having results. And thank you, Rose. Give fire emojis for the Rose. Hello. I'm not sure. Can you hear me, guys?
Yes.
Okay. So yeah, practice every day. Jump on this call every day.
So
take your notes,
so yeah,
write
so
down. And every day, practice. It's not enough, I know. I spoke lots of people, they said, I know, I used to study. So I have all the answers. You used to study, but not anymore. So here is where it is. So thank you, guys. Jump tomorrow on this call, 12 p.m. Thank you, Ross, for you. I'm so happy I have amazing Bob Proctor consult in our team. Thank you so much. Have a beautiful day. Thank you.
enjoy your Monday, guys. Talk to you guys tomorrow.
Thank
Bye.
you, guys. Thank you.